You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am your host, Jim, the overly tired and underly caffeinated one today, and with me is my partner,
Rocco.
Doesn't matter how much caffeine he has, she's just Rocco. Can't get the guy excited about nothing, man. Nope. He's just as zen. See, this is why we're Zentech, right? He's as zen as it gets. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't get sad. He just hangs his Rocco right in the middle. Om.
There you go.
You just say Om for us, Rocco.
There
you go. Om. Yeah, good enough. All right. We're talking about I know it is. It was actually, folks. It was on our schedule today. Because we have a schedule for what topics we're going to use. So it was on our schedule today to talk about working with Bluebeam for takeoff and estimating today. And that worked out perfectly because this podcast, when it's released, is actually going to coincide with the 2022 release of our Zen Estimate Steel takeoff tools for Bluebeam Revu. Now, I swear we did not plan it this way, but, hey, I am never one to, pass up the opportunity for trumpeting our own horns. So we're going to talk about that. So look, just about everybody that's listening to this podcast right now is a Bluebeam user at some level. I think it's something like, 85% of construction companies and 60% or more of design firms use Bluebeam Revu on a daily basis. Now, for a lot of folks, it's just as a PDF viewer or a markup tool, which is great. Revu is an amazing, red line tool that I recommend for everyone. To me, though, the true power of Bluebeam lies in its ability to handle detailed estimating and quantity takeoff with a really user-friendly interface. The key to that whole process, I think, is the Revu tool set. It allows you to create kind of reusable, customized tools for specific takeoff items and then integrate them with custom column data for, things like, weight and cost and labor rates, et cetera, whatever you need. And then you can combine all of those values, right? All of these numeric values that you put together into formulas, right? Just like you would do in Excel. And I think the best part of it, though, the thing that really works for me more than anything is that all of those values are dynamic to the items you've drawn on screen, right? They're read directly from, those items that you've drawn so that if, the length of a piece of pipe changes, right? You graphically change that on screen, then that value gets updated in the Revu markup list along with all of its related costs and formulas. And the same idea for counts. If you go and you say, I got to add, 2 more of these type A light fixtures to my takeoff. Bluebeam just updates the totals and then recalculates all the formulas and all your costs and labor pricing and material values instantly, right? And it really is, it's just one of the simplest and most intuitive takeoff processes in Bluebeam that I've ever seen. So, Rocco, what's the interest level that you see from clients on the takeoff and estimating side of Bluebeam Revu?
Yeah, I mean it's high. Of course, we're heavy into Bluebeam, so we get people that come to us from all over, and we have videos on YouTube, that showcase a lot of the functionality. But it's Bluebeam is a very affordable tool, and it's a very powerful tool, and it's used, from your small to your medium to your large, firms. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of interest, and it's not a real difficult tool to learn how to use. So that's what I think attracts a lot of people to Bluebeam and to what we're doing here around takeoff and estimating. I mean, there's tons of people that come to us even for training on the takeoff and estimating process. So definitely a lot.
Good. Yeah, that's what I see too. So, like I was saying, right? I think the real power behind the review takeoff system is that you can connect all of your tools, right, with fully customizable column data. I mean, you can build text box entries and numeric values. You can populate drop down lists for selection. You can add check boxes, etc. And you can integrate all of that with the formula calculations. And think about that for a second, right? That means you can build any custom tool, right? Any symbol that you need and connect it with any custom data that you can imagine. And that's a really powerful way to work. It essentially allows you to create a takeoff system that is built specifically to your company needs and your personal workflow, right? Now, there are two basic ways of doing this, and both of them are viable. Though, of course, like everything in life, right, they have both pros and cons. And I think the first method is to learn how to build tools and custom data columns, right? You learn how to do that, and then you develop the system on your own. And the truth is, it's actually a fairly easy process that almost anybody can learn, right? You don't need some advanced degree in rocket surgery to make it all work. The drawback, I think, to that, though, is that, while it is a simple process, right? Simple doesn't always mean easy. The process does take a lot of time, right? There is a lot of effort that goes into building the tools that you need and ensuring that all the formulas, are cross-referencing to the other variables and that they're resolving correctly. And the second method for setting this up and handling this is to work with a consultant like Zentech to develop the tools and the columns that you need. We have experts and processes that we've developed in-house to move things a lot more quickly. And we can get your tools up and in place and working for you in a few weeks instead of the months that it's likely to take you to develop them on your own. The drawback there, of course, is going to be the cost, right? You're going to have to pay your consultants hourly rate to make this all happen, right? And consultants have overhead and salaries and things that, and we also like to make a profit so that we can pay our mortgages. So we're definitely going to cost more than what you're paying, one of your employees to just sit there and do it. So I think what you're going to have to do at that point is you're going to have to do a little bit of a return on investment and ROI calculation to kind of determine, right, which of those two answers is the more cost-effective solution for your company. Rocco, what are the concerns, I guess, that we run up against when we're presenting a development job like this to our clients, right? Do they understand when they work with us that they're saving billable time and generating profits, even though they're paying more upfront for a consultant?
Yeah, I mean, there's a misconception in that, people think that Bluebeam is such a low cost tool, and so it's gonna, it's like a 1, 2, 3 thing, and you have a full tool chest, put together. But when you talk to people who have had their hands under the hood, and who work in it day in day out, and who built, tool chests, they understand that, yeah, this takes a lot of time to do. It's all doable and it's real powerful when it's done, but it takes a lot of time to put together. So, there's people that look at it and say, hey, that's, I'd rather pay you to do it. And there's people that look at it as that's a lot of money, and I'll just figure it out. And okay, they'll spend nights and weekends and overnights and do it. So, like you said, it's not impossible to do it. I mean, we can all learn how to do everything on YouTube these days, but it's just a matter of the time.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think you make outstanding points, right? Those are all perfect, right? And I think that, at least in my mind, it comes back to the idea of, looking at tools like this as an investment and not a cost, right? So, look, if the tools can give you more accurate estimates in half the time, right, then you can bid more jobs and you can win more work, so they actually just pay for themselves. And if a consultant, sorry, couldn't get that word out. If a consultant lets you, keep your staff working and bidding more jobs, then that's also going to pay for itself. And I think a lot of the problem, like Rocco was saying, is that people, they see the initial price tag for a custom estimating setup like this, and they balk at it. Look, in truth, you're probably looking at an investment in that $10,000 plus range, right? And I think that freaks people out, right? Even though they're going to make that money back probably on the first 2 jobs that they do, right? It's a very fast ROI on something like this. And I think a big part of it, like Rocco was saying, is that you're talking about a very low cost software with Bluebeam, right? It's only a few $100s per seat, right? And I think the idea of spending $10,000 to tweak a $600 software seems crazy to people. And I tell people all the time when this comes up is that, look, you got to look at it like this, right? Honda, Ford, Toyota, they all use the same little 4-cylinder engine, right, for their small, cheap-end, affordable sedans as they do for their big luxury SUVs. It's not always about the engine, right? It's about the system that you build around it, right? That's where the real value is, right? You're getting the benefits from what you've added onto it, not necessarily that, hey, that was a low-cost center. So that's how I look at it. So, all right, I tell you what, we need to take a break to hear from today's sponsor. But when we get back, I want to talk about a different option than the ones we have so far for getting the review estimating tools that you need, but at way less cost than we've talked about so far. All right, so stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call podcast.
Hello, everybody. This is Jim and Rocco with ZenTech Consultants, and we wanted to talk to you today about Bluebeam Revu, the premier quantity takeoff estimating and markup software for PDF out there on the market today. And at ZenTech, we are a premier Bluebeam partner here in the U.S. We're here to help you guys with all your Bluebeam needs, from software sales to training, consulting, configuration, and everything in between in all things Bluebeam, from the standard version to the extreme version and anything else you might need. So, in terms of Bluebeam, Rocco, how do people reach out to us if they want to start that conversation?
Yeah, just hit up our website, give us a ring, or send us an email, or through osmosis. That works too.
Osmosis is good.
Yeah, zentechconsultants.net or sales@zentechconsultants.net, or give us a ring, 866-824-4459.
All right, ZenTech Consultants, your home for all of your Bluebeam software needs.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast, where we're talking about ways to use Bluebeam Revu as a takeoff and estimating system. And in this half of the show, I want to talk about purchasing a pre-developed quantity takeoff system specifically for the type of work that you do. Now, to be clear, right, I'm talking about working inside of Bluebeam, and I'm not talking about just downloading a set of Bluebeam symbols for markups and so on, right? Those are available out there. I'm talking about a fully developed estimating system that works inside your current Bluebeam platform. And here's the thing, to my knowledge, there is really only one system on the market like that, and it is called Zen Estimate Tools, and they're brought to you by, yep, you guessed it, Rocco and I here at ZenTech Consultants. We've developed and are working on developing more industry-specific Bluebeam takeoff tool sets that are affordable. They're just a couple $100s per seat, and extremely powerful while still maintaining that Bluebeam Revu ease of use. Okay, so Rocco, tell folks about our Zen Estimate tools, man. What do we have? How can they get the tools? And what's coming? What do we have planned for our listeners in the future?
Yeah, we have our Zen Estimate Steel tools that Jim will expand on in just a minute. We have our Zen Estimate HVAC tools, and then we have, and those two are both takeoff and estimating tools. And then we also have our ZenTech Revu tools, which are more in the lines of markup tools for interior, exterior, site work, even structural work. So those are available all for sale on our e-store, right, at zentechconsultants.net. And in terms of future development, people are always asking us, hey, do you guys offer this, or do you offer that, or what do you have in the works? And we do have an electrical set for electrical contractors that's already in development, and then we have the idea to do concrete tools in the future. And so beyond that, we'll see, because it does take a lot of time and effort to build these tools. I mean, we're not just talking about simple tools like Jim said. So there's a lot, and we always welcome your feedback as to what other tools are needed out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said at the top of today's show, right, we just released our Zen Estimate Steel 2022 tools, which is a really big update for us. These have been out for about 3 years now, and this is the best update we've put out. The new tools have over 2,000 AISC, ASTM steel components, right, and their associated weights and surface areas and so on built right into the tools. And in addition to those tools, right, that go right into your Bluebeam tool set, we've included 3 separate review profiles so that you can take off 3 distinct types of structural steel work. We have our quantity takeoff profile, right, which lets you calculate, item weights, total tonnage, cost per ton, and, similar items just for like overall pricing and ordering of your steel. We've included the Zen Estimate Steel installation profile. And that one's focused on letting you estimate, your labor costs, your material, equipment costs for installing all of the steel on your project, right? What does it actually cost me to put this in place? And last, we included the paint and insulation profile. And what that does is it uses beams and sheet steel surfaces, the surface areas, to calculate, the materials and the cost for various depths of, paint, insulation, fire protection, whatever you need for your jobs, right? So how's that for covering all the bases, folks? We tried to give you everything you can possibly need in the structural steel set. But I will say that what I like best about the 2022 release is that all the profiles are using the exact same set of Bluebeam tools, right? The same symbols, everything on your tool sets in the side, so that, once you do an area, you do a takeoff, you can just load the different profiles and the different sets of columns that come with those, right, to use the same takeoff items for all 3 types of structural work, right, instead of, redoing each section from scratch, right? And I also love that all of this comes as part of the basic Zen Estimate Steel 2022 system, right? All those 2,000 tools, all 3 profiles are just part of the basic purchase. There's nothing extra here. It's an all-in-one system. All right, so Rocco, I'm going to let you do what you do best, which is be the salesman today, right? How much does the Zen Estimate Steel 2022 system cost, and what is the best way for folks to get it if they're interested?
Yeah, we saw it as a one-time perpetual license, so you buy it and you own it for life, or as long as you can run on your system, and as long as it's compatible with the version of Bluebeam. And it's going to be $695, and then we also sell annual maintenance with it. That's optional for $149. If you buy the annual maintenance, you'll be kept current, so that it includes support, and then when the next version of our tools come out, you automatically get access to it as well. So you could certainly reach out to sales@zentechconsultants.net. We can talk to you more about it, or help you purchase it. But you could also purchase it. You'll be able to purchase it through our e-store as well at zentechconsultants.net. For those of you guys who already have an older version of our tools, you'll be able to upgrade. If you're not already on maintenance, you'll be able to upgrade, and that'll be $495.
There you go. So everybody can get into it. And I will say, I do recommend the maintenance, right? Because one of the things that we really focus on is feedback from our customers, right? When they come back and say, hey, this was great, but I wish it did that, and I wish it could do this, and it's missing this one thing that I do. We add those in each release, right? It's a big part of how we choose the upgrade path. And, if you're giving us that feedback and we're upgrading every year to add in those, user requests, you definitely want to be on subscription so you just get them automatically. All right. So one other thing that I wanted to point out to you guys today, in terms of, and I'm kind of focusing in the second half on the Zen Estimate Steel, is that we've put together a series of short videos, right? Both on our website and out on the ZenTech YouTube channel, that show you exactly how each of the profiles that I mentioned work, right, and what they can do. And I really encourage everybody listening to go and take a look at those, right? It's much easier to understand when you see these things in action rather than just listen to, Rocco and I talking about them. So long term, right, we are planning on developing an entire suite of Zen Estimate tools, right, for a wide array of trades and industries, civil and concrete and masonry and general contracting, right? And we're doing this, and we started doing this because we spent so much time over the years here at Zentech working with people to develop custom tools for them, right? And we've realized that there is a huge market out there for a more middle of the road solution, right? Like we said, people don't want to spend 6 months building their own tool sets for estimating, right? Because too much downtime. But at the same time, the boss doesn't want to hear about spending thousands and thousands of dollars on having a consultant develop them either, right? So there's that middle ground in there, right? And what we're trying to do is, with the Zen Estimate tools, is provide another option, right? Tools that aren't necessarily custom, but that are industry standard and can be easily used and even adapted slightly to every client's need. And like I said, we're always interested in hearing from you guys and all our clients on what tools, what features, what industries, and so on are the most important to you. Right? Like Rocco was saying, we've already done the steel, we've already done the HVAC, and we did those first because, those were our most vocal clients, right? So they're the guys who reached out and said, hey, this is what we need. So, if you guys listening, right, if you want to push us towards developing what you need next, just let us know, right? Reach out to Rocco and annoy him enough that he, gets on the development team's back. So, Rocco, how do folks, one more time, right? How do folks get the request to you? And honestly, what level of impact does user input have on the internal decision on what we develop next?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just higher demand obviously triggers a greater response, right? A bigger problem triggers a greater response. So, definitely let us know. And, you can, I'll give you my personal email address. It's roccop@zentechconsultants.net. If you want to give us feedback or recommendations, or if you're interested, or you can hit up our website or chat with us or email us at zentechconsultants.net, or if you even want to pick up the phone and have a conversation.
Nobody wants to have conversations. Come on. What year is this?
You can pick up the phone at 866-824-4459 and let's talk.
There you go. All right. So there you have it, folks, right? Bluebeam Revu. In general, right? It's a fantastic takeoff and estimating system. And I will say with very little humility here that our Zen Estimate tools are the best way for you to start taking advantage of it on your next job. Look, and I know, folks, I admit we have been definitely more sales focused on today's show than we usually allow ourselves to be. But I am really, really excited by the Zen Estimate Steel 2022 capabilities. And I at least wanted to let you guys know about them and hopefully encourage you to come in and look at the videos on our websites, right? But I do promise that in the next show and next episode moving forward, as we try to be, we will be much more software neutral in the next episode. All right? So with that, folks, we appreciate you being here. We're going to bounce out, but we will catch you next time on the CADDle Call podcast.
All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.